Hello, I'm Katrin, and today I'm going to show you how to search and download datasets from the PANGAEA landing page. And so let's go. So there's a little overview of what I'm going to cover today. So there are several approaches how to search the database. Then it's of course about downloading, where to find documentation and help, and a little quiz in the end. So there are several approaches to search the database. First, we begin with a technical background, and then you can do your search in different ways, for example, via keywords, map, geographical coordinates, via a data warehouse, and something that I've called here specific features. So first, there is a little technical background. So let's assume we have two data sets. One is called Einstein and the other one Shakespeare. And we have a search query. We want to know where the word not is going to be, in which of these texts. So there's one way of doing it, and that would be a comparison word by word. That's something called string comparison, and that's actually really slow. So therefore, we have a different thing that's called inverted index. So you probably all remember what an index is from books. So here's an example. So so if you have a book, then in some of the books there are index. That means that all the terms and words that are covered in these books are listed, including the pages where you find these words. So for example, if you are searching for the word cherries, you will find it in these pages. And PANGAEA search is doing more or less the same. And so you have your two texts again. So now your texts have IDs. So there is ID number 0 and number 1. You list all the words that are covered or that are used in these texts, and then in which identifier they are in. And then you start searching for your word. And here we go. So search has started, and then you will find it's in both texts. And that's a lot faster than a string comparison. So much for the background. So when you start searching, you go to the PANGAEA web page. And so that's what Lars has already shown you. There's a submit button, but there's also something we call here a search panel. And since I'm a big fan of Mosaic, of the big project, we start with a search that with a keyword Mosaic. So because I'd like to find out how many data sets do we have for Mosaic. So you type in any keyword, here it's Mosaic, then you get forwarded. Your keyword appears now in this search panel. And then you can refine your search, because currently you're only searching for the word that can appear anywhere. So for example, if the title of your dataset contains the word Mosaic, it will be listed here. If your dataset is related to a reference which contains the word Mosaic, it will appear here. If, for example, somebody exists with the last name Mosaic and is an author of a dataset in PANGAEA, he will also be listed. And therefore, we want to make sure that we only get the project dataset or the datasets related to the project Mosaic. So therefore, we use the so-called filter or the facet filter that's on the left side. And there you can see project, and we check Mosaic. And then we only get datasets for the project Mosaic. So every keyword you put in the search panel, that's searching just for strings. And if you want to refine it, you can use the facet filter. That's the one on the left side. So you specifically search this word in the project. So you can add more filters. So we're still searching for the project Mosaic, but we also have clicked on some of the authors that are listed. And while for the project, you can check and uncheck the word Mosaic. For the authors, if you click on them, they appear in the upper search panel. And if you want them to disappear, you have to click on the X again and to remove them. And therefore, you can define and alter your facet filter. So there is now a difference between a search that is done by keywords done in the search panel and done with a facet filter. So previously we were searching for the project Mosaic, for the author Stephanie Arndt, for the basis Polarstern, and for the method Snow Pit. And if you take all these words and put them up in the search panel, so here are your words, Mosaic, Stephanie Arndt, Polarstern, and Snow Pit, you will get the different result than as if you have selected those words in the facet filter. So there's a difference by 3 data sets. And the reason why is, here we have it side by side. So here all your keywords are in the facet filter, while on here they're all in the search panel, and you can see directly where the differences are. And now there's the question of why is that? And that's because in the facet filter, you're not only searching for the word Polarstern anywhere, but you're searching for the word Polarstern in basis. So you can do that specifically also here in the search panel. And I know it's a bit small here, so let's zoom in. So you can put all the specifications in the search panel, and then you're not only typing Mosaic, but you type project : Mosaic. You're searching for the citation, author, Arndt Stephanie, the basis Polarstern, and the method Snow Pit. And then you end up with the same result as if you are using the facet filter. So you probably are wondering, why am I telling you this? Because it's, so first of all, it's important to know that you can do this. And you need it tomorrow for a different way of searching by using Python or R. So it's worth listening. So the question is, how do I know that I have to write project : and that it's called citation author? And you will find all the explanation of these and help in this in the wiki pages from PANGAEA. And the link already appeared in the chat. But I can simply put it there again, so that we see it directly. So the link is in the chat. You can go there and click and have a look, but I'm going to explain it and show it in more details anyways. So let's focus on the search panel. So automatically, everything that's listed in the search panel is combined with an and. So if you're searching for the author Arndt and the author Matero, you don't have to put anything in between but a space, and it works. You can also use the word or. So it's either the author Arndt or the author Matero. You can also do an excluding search. So if you know, well, they've both worked together a lot, so I want to refine my search because I know there's something where only Matero has worked on. So it will be then author Matero and negative author Arndt. Then you can do it this way. And there's a big hint, no blank after the negative sign, otherwise it won't work. You can also use wildcards. So for example, you know maybe there was a data set, or you're quite sure there is a data set by someone called Müller, or you're not quite sure. So you can ask for a citation author Müller and you get this result. But maybe it was spelled differently. So you can replace the umlaut with a question mark. And the question mark means that you're replacing exactly one character. So you will find, if you search like this with a question mark, you will find results related to Müller, to Miller, and to Müller. And if it's still not what you're looking for, you can also replace the question mark with an asterisk. So this little star means that it's not replacing one, but several characters. And it's not defined how many. So if you search like this, you can get the name Müller, Miller, Möller, or Müller spelled not with an umlaut, but with UE. So this is also then possible. You can also search with a map. So if you go back to the very first PANGAEA page, and then there is a little map symbol. If you go there and use the mouse over, different regions are highlighted. And then you just click on that region, and it appears automatically in your facet filter. So here it would be then North Atlantic Ocean. And then you can simply search and refine your search on filter as you wish. There's something that's called a bounding box. So there's a map and a panel where you can type in coordinates. And as soon as you type in coordinates, then this bounding box will appear on the map. And so you can also search in a specific region defined by you. And also, when you can do that independently, you can use something that's that you can select the time range. And there's one very important part. So let's zoom in. Here you can type in a start date and an end date. And this is the actual time, or this is the time range of the actual data. So in the facet filter, we had the year of publication. So that means if you're searching for data that was measured in 2010, you need to put it in here, directly beneath the bounding box option. Because if you go to your facet filter search, for example, this one, then you can see that there's a dataset publication year. And if you click here on 2010, then you get all the data that has been published in 2010, but not measured in 2010. So that's a big difference and something to worth noting and remembering. There's also something that's called the data warehouse. That's here in the upper right. And before you use the data warehouse, I urge you to apply a facet filter or to refine your search in any way. So otherwise you will end up, so it's a very powerful tool and you end up in big chaos. So first you need to think about what you're actually searching for. And in this example, I would like to know which data sets have the parameter salinity. And I'm very picky today. I only want to know what's happening in the upper ocean part. So I know that the thermosalinograph is looking at the upper ocean, and I'd like to know all the data sets that are happening or that have been, or all the data that has been measured in the North Greenland Sea. And then after refining my search to 47 data sets only, I will then click on Data Warehouse. And if you haven't logged in yet, then you will see this page. And the important part is, so everybody can register for free with PANGAEA, and then you can log in, and this is to make sure that humans are downloading the data and not machines. So therefore, you need to log in to be able to use the data warehouse. It looks then like this. And so there's a hint again. So the more refined your search is, the easier it is to find what you want. So you have a rather full page. So we zoom into different aspects. So first there is a large warning sign. And basically what it says in the upper part is that be very specific and watch out where you click, because you can choose a lot of different options. And if you don't pay attention, then your search results is different than of what you might expect. So just be precise. And the most important part is then don't forget to cite all the data sets that are listed and you are receiving out of the data warehouse. So with the example search that we did, it looks like this. So I've searched specifically for the parameter salinity. So therefore, the parameter is listed at the very top, and there's 100% of, or a score that's defining or telling you how good the search was, and it has 100%. Then when I'm searching for salinity, almost 40% of the data sets include water temperature. So and then there's a lot more parameters which are associated with salinity, and you can see in the search, in the score number, how good they match. And so the parameters are here in black. The blue words is a so-called geocode. So it's basically, it's telling you where and when the data was measured. So and so for my search, for this example, I have chosen date, time, latitude, longitude, and water depth, and salinity and water temperature. So there's also, if you're searching for different parameters, there might be the elevation interesting, and there's something called an event label. So event label is something that's also nicely described in our wiki pages, but it basically gives you more information on the data measurement circumstances. So right now I don't want that, but maybe it might be of interest to you. So then afterwards you can choose averaging. So over date time, you can choose different averaging methods, and depending on your parameters, there is something that there's also a little panel that you can, or drop-down menu, and for the temperature, it's dropping down all the methods that have been used for these data sets that are appearing in this example. So for these 47 data sets, there has been a thermometer used by Seabird or thermosalinograph. And so you can choose either of these or simply click any, and then you get all the temperature waters or the water temperatures. There's another averaging method and the standard deviation that you can click on. And after you've chosen very carefully what you want, you can start your query by clicking, well, on the query button, and then there is an automatic download started, and you will receive a tab delimited text file, and it will look like this. So for our example here, remember that it was 47 individual data sets. All the data points are listed here. So there's a geocode first, so where and when, and the where also in 3D. So we have the position and the depth of water. And the parameters we've chosen, salinity and temperature. And what's most important, the origin of the values. So there's not only all the temperatures and the salinity values, but there's also the information which data set these are coming from. And there are 47 individual data sets, so in total it's about 250,000 of data points, and they're all listed here, your data sets. And it's very important that afterwards you cite them all. So never forget that, that's very important. So there's something called the specific features. So for example, you've decided to search for this data set. You're on the landing page of this data set, and then you can use your mouse to hover over the different authors. And if available, more information is shown. So for example, if you're interested or if you think this data set is valuable to your research, you can check, for example, Tobias Eckhart ORCID page to see what else he has been doing about. Then there is some statistics of how often people have watched this or looked at this data set and how many have actually downloaded this data set. And this is a fairly new feature, so there is a usage since September 2021. You can display that one here. If you pay attention, you can see that there are little magnifying glasses everywhere. And that means, so these magnifying glasses appear next to keywords. So for example, here the name of the project, North Greenland Emu ice drilling, there is a little magnifying glass, and if you click on the magnifying glass, you get a list of all the data sets that are related to this specific project. And then if you know that the magnifying glasses are there, then you look out for them, then you actually see that they're almost everywhere on the PANGAEA page. So it gives you a lot, another search feature of finding what you want. So if we scroll down a bit, then there is, for this specific data set, there's also an event. So as I said, this is more information about this specific measurement circumstances. So for this ice drilling event, you can see where exactly it was and in which time range it was, and which method has been used. And also there's an information about a campaign, under which campaign or expedition is a synonym for campaign, this data set was created. And there's again the little magnifying glass, but also if you hover over ngrip, then you can see there's even more information, for example, when exactly this campaign has started and ended. So if you finally found what you are looking for and you want to download your data, then you can see directly there is a little difference. If you are either logged in, then you can see a little download button, or if you're not logged in, then you have to click on the specific data set and download it from there. So you can save yourself from clicking and scrolling if you're logged in. This is also to show PANGAEA that a human is actually downloading the data and not a machine. So if you want to download, here, this is an example of an individual data set. This is already what Lars showed us, that if you're interested in this example of Bauer et al., then you scroll down and then you can click on download dataset. You will get a tab delimited text in this format, but you can also choose a very different one. And you not only get the numbers from this dataset, but you will also get the metadata, for example, the citation or other metadata, for example, who is the PI of this dataset. Then if you're looking carefully, then you can see this is actually part of a collection. So here is your individual data set, and this is part of this collection. And if you click on the other link, then and scroll down, then you can see that this is actually a bundled publication. So it's a list of 5 specific data sets. You can either click on them individually and download them individually, or you click on download the zip file and then you download all data sets at once that belongs to this bundled publication. Here's a different example. So this data set contains not individual numerical numbers, but it's containing different individual data sets. So this is an example of Polar 5. The aircraft was flying day trips during a summer campaign. And here's another example of what an event could be. So here each flight is an event, so you can see the name of this specific flight, where it has started, where it has ended, and the time range it has covered. There's also a sensor URI link, so the very specific detailed information on this on the device that has been used for measuring. So here it's something that's called an EM-bird, so that more information is behind this link, hidden behind this link. And here's again, so it's the done where this device has been used on the aircraft Polar 6. So, but this is only the descriptive data of when and how the data has been measured. So if you look at the table where your actually data normally is, then you can see it's a list of events. And again, data, time, latitude, and longitude. So so here you have strings. Then you can also have numericals. And in this binary column, you can see the actual list of different individual data sets of what the EM bird has actually measured. So you can click here several times and download several individual things. So if you click on download dataset as tab delimited text, you will get this table, which includes the metadata and the links. But if you're interested in the actual data itself that are behind the links, then you can click below, and then it says that you can get all the binary files, and there are then you can get them either as a zip or as a tar file. So you don't have to click individually, but do it all in once. So this is how to search and download using the PANGAEA webpage. Tomorrow, Micha will show you, and others will show you how to search and download data sets using R or Python. For that, tomorrow you will get the link to a GitHub page, and there you can see that you can do the exercises by using Google Colab. And the important part that we would like to know you today already is that if you want to do the Python or the Python example code, so as I said, it's shown in Colab. If you want to do the exercises, then you need a Google account and you need to sign in. If you don't like to have a Google account or if you don't like to sign in, no problem, because you can simply click there without an account. You will see the code and you can simply copy, paste, and downloading the code and use it in any Python environment as you like without that, or that's totally independent of Google. So that's just a little note at the side for tomorrow. So where to find documentation and help? So I already shared the link of the Wiki PANGAEA page. It looks like this. That's the main page. And there's already 2 panels that are directly related to search. So everything that we've covered so far, that is in the bullet point PANGAEA search, and everything that's covered tomorrow that you will find under tools, under advanced search. So what's behind this one? So there is, so here you can see an explanation of how the actual search functions work. And if you're still unsure what I mean when I'm talking about a basis or a campaign, you can click here and there's more detailed information of what's actually meant with these terms. There's something, then if you scroll down, then you can see that there's the advanced search. There's all the, there's again an explanation of the and the or the excluding search with the negative sign. There you can find examples of what to type if you want to use the search panel, for example, if you're searching for event labels or for parameter names, and you don't want to use the facet filter, but use the search panel and type everything in there. Here are examples how it's done, and it's not easy to see, but if you go then, or if you're actually in this table and you click on parameters, you will then get redirected to a different wiki page where there is more explanation on what we mean by parameter, by method, by events, basis, campaigns. So there's, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, just click there and have a look. There is more. There's more explanation. And there's explanation about how the data warehouse is working.